Good afternoon, everybody. Great to see you. Welcome, Paul, to our little bite-sized chats. How you doing?
I am absolutely fantastic. Thanks ever so much for having me on board, Shelley and Rob. Thanks.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. Obviously, like us, you're still working, but I appreciate that not all your sites are open. So which sites are, and kind of what services are you able to offer?
Yeah, so as you know, we're based at Bletchley Leisure Centre, which is your site. So we're not open there at the moment because the gyms are shut, and we've also had to close our Sports Central clinic. But we're still open in Newport Pagnell, Bedford, Olney, and Ampthill for essential appointments only now. They've come out and said, but what's essential? I'd say a lot of things are essential because that sports massage or that work that we do on someone could be really helping their mental health. So the line of essential is one to debate another time. But yeah, so we're open in 4 of the 6 clinics.
Brilliant. And I don't know about you, but for me, like working from home is a real, even after all this practice, it's a real kind of alien concept, whether it be because it's not a proper seat, it's not an actual desk. When I'm kind of visiting facilities, I'm on my feet all the time, up and down, up and down. So I don't know whether there's any kind of real tips that you can offer to anyone that is obviously struggling with working from home, because I feel sometimes it's detrimental to me. I've sat in front of a computer screen for much longer than I normally would be.
Yeah. So as physios, we do a lot of work on ergonomics, we call it. So your position that you're sitting at a computer. For me personally, I'm spending a bit more time in the office room here, in the man cave, which is still doing some work on at the moment. But so for me, sitting down at a desk is alien to me. So if you've so the main tips really are, with any posture, there's no right and wrong posture. It's just how long you spend in that posture position. So for example, if we sat slouching over a keyboard, say for half an hour, and then we get up and stretch, it's not an issue. But if we sat there for like an hour, 2 hours, and up to even 3 or 4, some people, you're going to start getting issues with your shoulders and your neck. So the key to any posture thing and advice is variety. Break it up with other positions, and also try and have a stretch every half hour to an hour to really stand up, walk around, get the heart beating again, and then stretching off your neck. There's loads of stuff you can do, and exercises at your desk that you can do to make sure that these muscles aren't tightening up too much. And I'm happy to send out any exercise programs for anyone needing some help with some exercises at home. We can discuss that.
Amazing. And again, I suppose as well, like a lot of people during lockdown, I run regularly, but now I run a lot more than I was before. Again, maybe it's my age, who knows, but the little niggles seem to kind of play. I know, so young. The little niggle kind of show themselves up a little bit more so than normally. Again, how do you combat that? Because obviously I don't want to stop being active. It is my mental health kind of fix. I need that escapism. How do I protect my body if I'm doing that repetitive kind of motion all the time?
Yeah, so I've started running up as well, personally as well. It's really helping me out mentally and physically. I'm losing some weight as well. So we've got to really be aware of where we were and now what we're doing. So we're always more at risk of when we do a change in lifestyle. It's not necessarily that we're doing that amount of running that's causing the injury. It's going from that level to then that level, and that change in exercise volume is going to give you the problems. So my advice is, when we're starting up, you can't just jump straight into a high volume of running. We need to gradually step it up into that level, and that's doing it in a safe way over time. Whereas if we bring that step closer and we go up straight in one go, your body's going to hit problems a lot sooner. So I'd say periodization of training is prevention. I'd also say really listen to your body when you're doing a jumping and a change in exercise. You're going to have to be scanning your body a lot better in terms of your muscle soreness, and knowing the difference between a muscle soreness and a painful part of your body, which might be causing you detriment. So that's key as well. So I think it's all about volume of training and allowing at least 2 rest days in the week. There's some studies that have come out even more recently that's shown someone at elite level, if they're having 48 hours of rest 2 days a week, they're 520% less likely to get injured. And that's just from 2 days. Yeah. So just by having that 2 days in that week, doesn't matter where it is necessarily, will just give your body that regeneration time to get going again. Yeah, does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think that's the key. That is the key.
And what are the most common injuries you're finding at the moment? Because I think everyone's at home. A lot of people are running, road running a lot more. So what are the most common injuries that you're finding people coming to you with complaints about? And then going forward, how to fix them?
Yeah, no worries. I think people going from not exercising much to all of a sudden having all this time to do an exercise, they go gung ho on it. So they just think, I am addicted to this exercise now. So we're seeing, a lot more kind of hip, lower back pain. And with going back to the working at home, a lot more neck and headaches, a lot of tension building up with stress. As we all know, I mean, it's not always the exercise that's going to lead to injuries. Sometimes it's the other things in our lives. The stress has a big effect on it. So, but yeah, joint injuries, muscular strains, not necessarily a pull of a muscle in one go where you tear it, but where you've worked that muscle so much, that muscle then goes into a tighter or a hypertonic state, we call it. So it's tension built up, and then you train on it again. And then you can cause like microfiber tears in the muscle. So we're seeing a lot of that. But yeah, it's good that everyone's exercising loads at home. We love to hear it and we love to see it. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we get more work, because the people that aren't exercising, becoming a little bit heavier, mentioning the obesity word, they're the ones that are going to put their bodies under a lot of strain, generally, other than the active, healthy population. So yeah, loads of injuries: ankles, knees, hips, lower backs, neck, shoulder, and
so is there any tips for these guys going out doing their 5K on social media? Everyone seems to be doing 5Ks and 10Ks at the moment. So is there any tips from a professional before they run, after they
rather
run?
than pure, Paul.
Yeah, so in terms of like if they're starting up running, the tips are, if you've never been seen by a physio or anyone before, it's good to have your body checked out to make sure everything's in a line. Also, we can do a lot of muscle tests to kind of see, are your glutes working? Are they firing? Is it just your hamstrings or your quads that are working? Is your foot in a good position to run? Because when we start off an exercise, you don't want to be, it's a bit like a car. So if the wheels aren't tracking properly, they're going to overrun on one side a lot more, and the tires are going to wear out. So it's good to get your biomechanics checked eventually when all this is opened up. But also, I'd probably say on social media, don't feel disheartened when you look at other people's times. It's not always what it seems. Sometimes when you're running, elevation counts for a lot. So some people might be running downhill for a longer period, and yes, they're hitting a better time, but your course might be a lot more hilly elevation-wise going uphill, which is going to slow you down a lot in terms of pace. So don't get beaten up about it. I say stick to a comfortable level and don't get pressured by others. Just concentrate on yourself. And the best bit of advice is enjoy it. Don't put yourself under too much pressure. That's what I've said recently. I've put a post out on our Instagram and I've said, don't feel pressured to try and beat your time every time. You're going to have days where you just plod and you just build up that volume at a lower intensity. It still has benefit for you, but you're not pushing yourself to that limit each time. So you're going to have to train at a lower intensity a little bit and then dip into the high intensity sessions.
Yeah, our biggest competitor is ourselves, isn't it? We put ourselves under all this kind of pressure and all these expectations to be the best person, to compete with everybody else. And actually, you're right, it's not about that. If I'm moving, I'm doing myself the world of good, my head the world of good. and ultimately, you know, you're kind of offsetting against all those kind of health conditions that might really impact negatively. On that note, I mean, have you had to deal with anyone that's obviously recovering from COVID that you could, you know, anything that kind of strikes you as, wow, everyone needs to know this?
For me personally, I haven't actually been hands-on much through March, but we haven't had anyone come in for post-COVID rehab yet, as far as I know. So, but you know, it's a respiratory thing. I think once all this is over, I think we might see people maybe taking advice from us to do that. And I think at the moment, because we don't know everything about COVID-19, we don't know what's going to help it, we don't know how people are going to feel mid to long term, it's hard to actually say we have a process in place to actually help you out of it. There are out about I think we'll be able to product process patients to come to us, and then maybe bring them out of that, as you guys can do with the personal trainers as well.
Yeah, activity's got such an important role to play moving onwards, hasn't it? So, you know, that's one of the positives that we take out of the last year. I think it's how activity can really, really play a positive and beneficial role in everyone's life. It doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter your conditions. Actually being active has got to be an absolute benefit.
Oh, it looks like we've lost
Paul.
Never mind.
Oh, he's back again.
Yeah, we lost you for a little bit, sorry. Yeah, so yeah, sorry, where did you get to? I got to yeah, so I heard you anyway, that's fine. Yeah. So I think we'll once we hear more about COVID-19 and we know kind of the process afterwards, we have to do things a bit evidence-based. So we have to wait for the research to come out and then see what the process is going to be. But I'd probably just say it's going to be slower for people to recover and get back to that cardiovascular level that they were. So it's going to be a gradual recovery. But again, people are getting affected in different ways from it. Some people are getting hit hard with it, and some people are not getting hit in terms of respiratory system and breathing. So everyone's going to be individual.
Yeah, it's a watch this space moment, isn't it?
Yeah. But,
okay, we're coming up to the end of our time. So, Paul, this is your kind of moment to shine. Give me your favourite motivational music and then your top physiotherapy tip.
Right. My favourite motivational music is probably going to be something from like the Tony Robbins kind of. I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. If you don't check, you need to check him out. He's massive. But yeah, I just like to. I get a bit of Fleetwood Mac on for me and just hammer it, you know. And then what was the last one? A physio tip.
Yeah, your top physio tip.
The top physio tip is don't try and do it all yourself. And don't think you know all the answers. As with everything in life, we're here to help. And I would say, look, even if it's for one session to get some advice and help, it's going to benefit you loads. So don't try and heal things yourself. Google, you know, all the answers are on there and you'll end up reading the wrong thing. So if you've got an issue, don't be afraid to come and get it checked out. Even if it's one session, it doesn't matter. We don't try and lock people in for hundreds of sessions. We're not like physio or